What is asthma? Asthma is a condition that affects hundreds of millions of people worldwide, and more than 5 million people in the UK are asthmatic, about 1 in 13 people. It is a lung disease that affects your airways, the tubes that carry air to and from your lungs. It causes the muscles in these tubes to contract, the tubes themselves to swell, and also causes sticky mucus to be produced. All of these factors can make it very difficult for a sufferer to breathe properly. Shortness of breath, especially after exercise, coughing, or difficulty breathing while sleeping are all common symptoms. These can be described as mild asthma attacks. However, they can usually be controlled by medication. A severe asthma attack, on the other hand, where a sufferer finds it very difficult to breathe, may require hospital treatment. How badly you're affected by these symptoms depends on what type of asthma you have, from mild to chronic, and how well you are able to control the disorder. What causes it? Asthma is not contagious, although it's still not known precisely what causes it. People can be born with it, develop it in childhood, or at any age. If you have asthma, it's likely that someone else in your family had it, as the illness is known to run in families. There is also some evidence that environmental factors such as diet, housing conditions, or smoking during pregnancy can cause asthma. Having the condition doesn't necessarily mean you'll suffer badly from the symptoms. Mild or moderate asthma can be easily controlled through medication or lifestyle changes. Additionally, all attacks need a trigger, and if these triggers can be identified and avoided, the likelihood of an attack decreases. Triggers can include pollution, smoking, dust, animal hair, stress, pollen, exercise, and cold air. These triggers are personal to each individual sufferer, so if you have asthma, make sure you know what is causing your attacks. You can then better avoid these triggers.
The vanishing invention. In 1998, a Valencian professor made an amazing claim. Professor Antonio Cervilla discovered how to use water as a substitute for petrol. The scientist said that you could drive from Bilbao to Valencia on just half a litre of water. His invention uses a molybdenum compound to break down water into hydrogen and oxygen. Unlike other methods, no electricity is required, and the reaction happens at atmospheric temperature. This impressive technology is based on the way plant enzymes break down water. The use of molybdenum is the perfect choice because, although rare, it is cheap and found all around the planet. Since the claims were made, nothing more has been heard about this fabulous technology. There is no explanation for the disappearance anywhere on the internet, apart from a list of similar inventions which have also vanished. An inventor from the Philippines called Daniel Dingle developed a water-fuel car, but was arrested at the age of 82 and sentenced to 20 years in prison. If this technology were to become widely available, it would prove disastrous for petrol station owners, and would also save the planet from the impending environmental catastrophes being caused by pollution.
Did you know that there are more telephones in the world than there are people? Cell phones alone add up to more than 6 billion. There are over 7 billion people in the world. It's hard to imagine a world without the telephone. And the person we have to thank for the telephone is Alexander Graham Bell, who invented it in 1876. Alexander was born on March 3, 1847, in Edinburgh, Scotland. As a young boy, he was very talented in music, poetry, and art. and when he was only 12 years old, he began inventing things. Also, when he was 12, his mother began to lose her hearing and was later to become completely deaf. This greatly affected Alexander, who became very interested in the scientific study of sound and the human voice. In 1870, at the age of 23, Alexander moved to Canada with his parents, where they bought a farm in the province of Ontario. It was there that he built a small workshop to continue his experiments in sound. In 1871, Alexander moved to Boston, in the United States, to teach deaf students, people who could not hear, how to communicate. One of his students was Helen Keller, who was unable to see, hear, or speak. Starting from 1873, he began to teach less and focus his energy on experiments with sound. On March 10, 1876, while working on his invention, Mr. Bell spoke the first words ever into a telephone. "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you," when he had a small accident in his laboratory. The first telephone, a machine that was able to carry the human voice over long distances, had been invented. By 1886, over 150,000 people in the United States owned one, and our world would never be the same again. Alexander Graham Bell died in Canada in 1922.